Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestle podcast. I am your resident shithousery master, that is Aaron Nix. Joining me is somebody I haven't seen for a good couple of years, if you can believe that. She came on back in the pandemic. Now, for anyone who follows my Twitter feed, you will notice that I'm always thirsting after one person, always simping after one person, and that's not hard because you can now finally see for yourself once again why, because she is the scintillating, sultry masteress that is Persephone Vice, Canada's very own. Welcome back to the podcast, darling.
Thank you for having me. That was an introduction, friend. Wow.
We
If
put people over
only,
here.
if only I could be introduced like that all the time. Oh my God, inflate my ego more, please. No, I'm kidding. I'm
There
kidding.
you go. There you go. Canada, tag me in. I'm ready to MC. I've been doing it over here.
But
I can do it over there. Yeah, we got loads of questions lined up, loads of things, because obviously I haven't had a chance to speak to you properly. I know we keep in contact. When we say keep in contact, we send each other like one message a week, because anything more than that and Persephone's head will explode because she ain't got time for me. She's too busy being a megastar, too busy being a supermodel, a glamour model, a megastar, Amazonian princess slash queen.
my God. My God.
Honestly. Honestly, I'm sweating, man. I'm getting nervous, and I don't normally get nervous. So yeah, like I say, we've got loads of questions for you. But how have you been since we last had you on? Like, how are things personally? You're feeling good? You're feeling healthy?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm still working through some injuries. I think we talked about this last time with my right shoulder. Now that we're essentially out of the craziness of the pandemic, I've finally been able to see the surgeon who I've been dying to see. And we have a follow-up appointment coming up very soon to kind of discuss what my options are. So surgery is still not off the table yet. But we will find out very, very soon what my options are. So the ball is rolling. I'm really hoping, to be honest, I know, surgery is a big, scary fucking word for any athlete. Doesn't matter, what modality you are in. But I'm at the point in my life and my wrestling career and like my real life career, where it's like I want to close the fucking chapter on this shoulder journey. And if I have to go under the knife one more time, then so be it. Just get it done and over with because I'm still relatively young enough that I should bounce back pretty quickly. If we prolong this anymore, obviously with age, you don't heal as quickly and things don't heal as well. So I'm hoping, really hoping that the doctor will agree with the other specialists that I've seen and we can just get this fucking done and over with because I'm done. Like I'm done. The injury happened in 2016 and we are now 2023. Like I have tapped out long ago. I'm done. Let's get this fucking shit finished. Please and thank you.
That's a long time, like 7 years to be carrying an injury. Like not just the physical fatigue, it's the mental fatigue as well. When you last came on, we spoke about that wonderful documentary. I'll splice it in for people who maybe haven't recognized it or didn't see it from the first podcast. You were on this amazing, beautifully shot documentary. Obviously, I do a lot of videography, so I'm gonna love stuff like that anyway. But that documentary followed like your return, and your sort of re-debut, so to speak, on the Canadian wrestling scene. And, it had that real level of emotion, that level of symbolism of what it meant to come back to rehab yourself enough to be able to get back in a wrestling ring, which, as we all know, is extremely difficult. Just to be a wrestler of any kind is difficult. How has the mental fatigue affected you over 7 years? Because you have come back, you are wrestling, you've got future dates coming up. I know you're working in Ontario soon in May as well. On the same card as some very big names in our business. How are you mentally coping with that? Do you need to kind of revisit certain mental factors to feel refreshed, to feel okay? Or is it something that just you take it in your stride and you don't think about it?
It's a little bit of both. Some days I'm just like, you put your game face on and you just get the job done. But there's always, is this the match that shit's gonna go really bad because I don't let a lot of people in on the injury. But basically, I have a tendon in my arm and my shoulder. I mean, you have multiple, but one of them in particular is fraying like a rope would fray. And so at any given moment, it could just this could be during a match. This could be while I'm at work. This could be at the gym. This could be carrying in my groceries. So there's always that living right back here. And it's scary. It's very scary. I take pride in my matches a lot. I take pride in everything that I do. And it's always that looming dread that something is going to happen. And it eats away at me. Um, and I don't particularly like feeling like that. I don't think anybody particularly wants to feel that way. But here we are. So I'm really hoping that, as I said, moving forward, like I can just get through this, get over this, and I can still perform. I know as I age, um, I won't always be able to do it, but I would still like to do it in some capacity when I hang up my boots. And mentally I have to be ready for that too. So I do my best to put my game face on, and I just do my best to prepare as best as I can for my matches in the state of the problem.
Has it affected your ability in ring? Do you think that you're compromising your, because we all know what we can do at our maximum peak. And obviously, as amazing as you look, obviously, physically, the body still needs rehab time, it needs recovery, it needs
Yeah,
that ability to relax. Like you say, you could be carrying your groceries and then obviously we're up shit creek without a paddle, and it's big surgery time, and it could really elongate the rehab process. It could make it much longer.
that is
Apologies for
correct.
that. My camera
Absolutely.
was, I wonder what happened now. I was like, whoa. Oh, sorry, mate. I live in the countryside, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me. So when you've got that and that ticking time bomb, it's just an honest question, I guess. It's not meant to poke at you, but do you feel like you're not wrestling at the ability that you should be able to currently as we speak?
Absolutely 100%. But I am lucky in the sense that I work with some incredible individuals and I lay it out for them. I'm like, listen, this is the state of the situation. It is not good. As long as we can avoid doing anything super crazy on this side, um, exactly things like that. I'm game for anything. If there's anything specific that my opponent would like to do, we do a quick run. And if I'm like, "Oh, that's a little dicey, can we like we really shouldn't test the waters on this?" And usually, my opponent has zero problems about it because they also want to get through the match safely as well. So, as I said, I'm very lucky in that aspect. Um, I also have my size behind me. So there's things in a match that um I can do. I'm a heel. So there's not a lot that I really have to do. Oh, I'm gonna kick myself for saying that. But there's certain things I know my body well enough, like what I am capable of doing, and things I don't need to do. So I stay within the realm of my scope of what I'm good at, and that's what I do. And there's usually never any issues.
I want to touch on that actually. So, like, obviously, I have a similar kind of ethic. Like, obviously, I'm 6'3", 6'4", 350 odd pounds. If I'm on a good day, I guess it could be even worse than that. But it's that thing of I'm obviously a heel. I'm very sizable. So for me, when I'm wrestling matches, I'm one of these people. I'm like, if it doesn't make sense, I'm not going to subscribe to it. For instance, if I'm wrestling a guy who's 180 pounds and 5'8", no, you're not going to just lift me up or slam me or whatever. I'm going to batter you because of the size differential. So I like the story to make sense. I like wrestling to be real. I still want people to suspend their disbelief enough. And I think, yeah, I could go out there and go Keith Lee and start leapfrogging people and stuff. I do have a level of athleticism, I suppose, that isn't coinciding with people of my size as often. But like you say, it's sensibility. So I don't think it's a bad thing to know that. Is it on the back of that? Is it tempting sometimes to push the boat out too far? Do you ever get that moment where you think, I might
Oh,
try?
yes, all the time. All the time. I will always push my boundaries. Um, and it also depends on the person that I'm working with, if I've worked them before. Um, and then we'll kind of dive into what I'm willing to do. Or like if I'm willing to try, be like, hey, you want to try to do this in the match? I think if it's near the end, then I'm not too. I mean, I'm worried, but I'm like, at least it's near the end of the match, so if something happens, we can just go the fuck home. Um, so yes, I do like to push myself. I do. Um, but it's as long as it makes sense and I know that it'll get a good pop. So
The work rate is, I'm not sure if it's picking up or going down. I obviously pay attention to what you're doing and I'm trying to share as much as possible. And I do that with everyone I care about, as you know. But it's that thing of, so I look at Persephone. Obviously, everyone's going to look at my Twitter and be like, "You fancy that woman?" And I'm just like, "Okay, whatever." But for me, like I feel like I know you well enough that I can sort of say it's not just a physical attraction to me. I find the fact that you're very powerful, very strong. I think you're very unique in women's wrestling because
thank you.
it's the era of now. Nobody's saying you're not ridiculously hot because obviously, and again, I'm not being unprofessional. Persephone knows me well enough to know that I can not get away with that, but I'm just being honest, isn't it? But it's that thing of that's like such a small caveat of what you do. There's a power, there's a presence, there's a character, there's an affluence of personality that you don't necessarily get with many other women, much less on the Canadian scene as well. We've seen the Canadian scene, although it still has an incredible plethora of amazing wrestlers, I almost feel like a lot of the wrestlers are now being cherry picked by the bigger organizations. You've now got AEW in play, Impact starting to really come back into its own. The indie scene is growing and growing in America. So a lot of guys are thinking, a lot of guys and girls, let's get over the border. Let's work towards that more. When I had Josh Alexander on, he spoke very openly about the fact that he felt it necessary to be a champion for wrestling outside of the borders, not only growing the Canadian scene, but taking it to any part of North America because it's so difficult to get enough work just in Canada. Like nobody's going to truly make a living off of wrestling, just wrestling in Canada. They have to go to America. They have to be able to tour and things like that. Um, do you think that with your current look and how striking and how stunning you are as an athlete as well as a human being, that you deserve more opportunities than maybe you get?
Oh, that's a hard question. It really is.
Love
But it's
hard
a good
questions.
one.
Here we are.
I love it. I love it. I'm kind of on the I have to be honest. I am on the fence. I agree with Josh, and actually, I'm not sure if you knew this, but Josh and I used to train at the very same facility many, many years ago. So, although I don't see Josh or talk with Josh all the time, whenever I am on a show with him, it's like old times, and we always, chat it up, and it's really good to reconnect with an old friend. And I've said this to his face, but I am just so fucking stoked to see where he is at in his life, in his professional career. And I'm like, bro, you fucking did it. Like, think of the humble beginnings where you started and look at you where you are now. Like, Jesus fuck, you fucking did that. And I couldn't be more fucking proud of him. Honestly, I seriously fucking couldn't. I just, such a good dude. Honestly, such a good fucking dude. So back to your question. I would love to have more opportunities, whether it's in different parts of Canada or in the US. Fuck, I would even travel to the EU and the UK. That is something I have been dying to do since day one. Since day one. And I'm because of my injury, I I don't put myself out there because I can't stretch myself out too much because I have to be concerned about my health. Not just that, like my physical health, but like with my professional job.
Mm.
Um, I have other things that I have obligations. I have to have that work-life balance, so to speak. And I can't just be going to my job um, as a healthcare worker and I have to take care of people, I have to do things. I cannot be injured. So I'm already taking a lot in by like the one or two bookings I have a month, um, full out knowing that I'm already not 100%, and I am now worse off when I go back to work. So there are things that I have to consider before ever accepting any more bookings than what I currently have. I'm hoping, I'm truly hoping, if divine timing works out for me, I would, and logistics, of course, um, doing a tour of the UK or the EU, whatever the case may be. I would be so fucking jazzed to do that. It is, as I said at the beginning, like I need to do it before I'm done. And I think it's a very tangible goal. If I could do, there are so many women in the UK. I forgive me, I don't know all their names, but I've seen, clips that you have posted. Um, Lori is a big one. I know she's on a hiatus right now, but
Yeah.
she is my girl. I love that woman so fucking much. Holy shit. Um, her and I are on the same fucking level, and I hope that she can heal up and get better too. And then her and I could fucking tear up the scene. I also just recently started following her. I believe her name is Regina, or is it? I believe it's pronounced Regina. And I was looking at some of her stuff. I was like, fuck me. I would love to tear it up with her too, because I think we could put some fucking top-notch shit together. And I know um, there's a slew of other incredible UK females I would love to tie it up with. So I'm hoping that, again, I'm thinking more along the lines of the future where my shoulder is in the best shape that it can be, where I'm not too concerned about the injury in the state that it's in right now. That I'm hoping that I can get over there and at least make. I mean, logistically, I don't know what kind of shows are out there. I would just love to do like like a handful of shows, get to see the sights of the UK, and fucking come home and be like, I fucking did it finally after X amount of years in this business. I finally was able to do it before I could be like, okay, it's time.
Yeah, I mean, contacts galore at the Wrestle Plug. As you know, I'm very blessed now. I get to work all over the country, so
That's dope.
we'll have no problem championing you in there. Yeah, you mentioned Regina Rosenthal from I believe Finland. Had the pleasure of actually being a commentator, play-by-play for one of her shows when she wrestled a triple threat match. Amazing woman, amazing, like super powerful. Very much your cup of tea as an opponent goes. Like it's yeah, there's so many women out there now who break the mold of what it used to be to be a women's wrestler.
Mhm.
It used to be, very pretty, very fancy, very kind of almost Barbie doll-esque to a certain degree. And that's not fair on the women from the independent scene because that's what the mainstream was putting out there. So
Mhm.
obviously WWE had a lot of this, the bra and panties and the garbage that frankly is useless now.
Yeah.
Just pointless stuff. Whereas now it's like it's gone from being like Barbie doll to burlesque in a way. Like burlesque is hard hitting, more edgy, it's heavy metal, it's rock and roll, it's that kind of thing. And I've noticed there's a lot of crossover with stuff like that anyway.
Mhm.
But it's that. Do you think that you need to get out of Canada to get the options of more opponents? Because you mentioned so many people you want to work with. Do you feel like Canada's really lacking now in terms of female opponents?
Especially in Ontario, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, a lot of the women that you see on other shows are coming from the Ontario or the Quebec side. So, I mean, they do have, I'm not going to, like, I'm not just saying that they're from Ontario or Quebec, but you do see a few of the homegrown ladies there, but even then, sometimes they're still coming from other parts of Canada to go to said show. So
The
I do think.
sorry, Karen.
Sorry, say that again.
No, I was just going to say the name that always jumps out to me is Alexis. I believe it's Alexis Nicole, who wrestles for Destiny, and obviously it sounds weird. Maybe it's because social media is an echo chamber. It always is going to be. She's the only one other than you that I know who seems to work regularly in Canadian wrestling, predominantly as opposed to working, in America, because I believe there is still that big issue with visas and border patrols and control of that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there's also like, I'm not going to speak for anybody, but there's also a financial thing about this. For me personally, I can't just get up and go anywhere. Like, I have things that need to be taken care of. So, and there's like, I can't just take time off work. I can't just call in sick because I do have a professional job outside of wrestling that has to come first because that's what pays my bills. So I have to always prioritize that before I can do anything else. And as I said before, it's logistics. It's absolutely logistics. If I have the opportunity to do it, I will absolutely take that opportunity. In the event that the opportunity comes into my lap and I do the math, I do the paperwork, but I can't make it happen, then that's unfortunately what I have to say. I can't make this happen, unfortunately. And on top of that, that same booking never comes back. There's nothing I can do about it. For me, it is. I mean, it is what it is. And it's just on to the next one, right?
That's fair. That's fair. There's a hot topic right now on social media, and I feel like it's a hot topic every freaking month. But
oh no,
yeah, intergender wrestling, right? So,
oh fuck, I love it.
yeah.
Oh,
See, that
sorry,
I know you
I
do.
better ask.
But
I'll
no,
let you
not
answer.
that. Like, no, like we, you all talk about what you're comfortable talking about, and we don't lead you down paths here. There's no gotcha moments at the Wrestle Blog, as you know anyway. But yeah, no, intergender wrestling. The reason I bring it up is because I know for a fact that you could beat most men's asses. I do. I just look at you and I think, yeah, absolutely. Some of us might enjoy it a bit too much, for being honest. So by the way, you are on my bucket list of opponents. So, because I love intergender wrestling. I love the idea of testing myself against the best, and the best don't have to be male as far as I'm concerned. So, some people are like, oh, you're so woke. No, I can tell you what, square up to Persephone Vice yourself and find out what happens. It's as simple as that. Bad shoulder or not. She'll probably launch a load of cats at you first, if we're being honest. We'll talk about that in a minute. So, you obviously love intergender wrestling. I know that. Let's delve into this. The mentality, the argument that's brought forth by people who don't like it is it's either unrealistic or that it perpetuates violence towards women. Break that down for me, because obviously I've asked different people and they've given me different opinions. But for you, is that like, I can't speak for a woman, so I need to ask you for your opinion. But if I was in your position, I would find that incredibly offensive. Is it something that irks you when you hear that?
Absolutely. First off, I know what I'm getting into when I sign up for an intergender match. I'm also a professional wrestler. And my opponent is also a professional wrestler, which means once we wipe our feet before we get into that ring, it's a level of professionalism between two people who are trained in this business. I truly prefer intergender wrestling. For me, why do I prefer it? Because of my size. I am not afraid to be hit. I am not afraid to be squashed. I am not afraid to be lifted. I find that I am on the same playing field as the men are, just because of my sheer size. Okay. I also think that I'm not afraid of it. I embrace it. I embrace that kind of athleticism because like men are capable of doing things that I'm not capable of doing. And I'm like, If you want to fucking press me, go ahead and press me. Please do it. Do it. Do it. I do not care. Um, I think I think they're over. I think they get over with the fans very well, especially if those fans are true fans of intergender wrestling. When it comes to the fact of people saying, they're worried about abuse and stuff. Now, I am also very sensitive to that subject. I understand how negative it can be and how negative it seems. However, as I go back to the saying, it is two professional wrestlers who are professionally trained in this business. And I would like to think that if I'm signing up to be in an intergender match, that I know the gentleman that I will be working. Meaning I know them on a professional level and I know them on a personal level, that there would be no type of shenanigans going into that ring where I know that we will keep each other safe. We will have a spectacular match. And at the end of the day, still be besties afterwards. So I do not condone violence against women ever, ever, in any form. But as I say, professional wrestling, it is two people who are professional wrestlers who have been professionally trained in this business. And that is the fucking difference.
There we go. Done. Job's a good one. Yeah. That's how I need to insert the sound effect. Boom.
Yes, do it.
I think it's a sad state of affairs that we live in a world where we're driving for more and more equality, and yet people still want to. We're trying to bridge the gap, and people are trying to push it open. They're trying to demolish the bridge, and I feel like the mainstream wrestling doesn't help that. So my last thing on this subject, and we'll move on because you could be here forever, is that AEW and WWE have exclusively pretty much said, no, we're not doing that because, and they use this caveat and this excuse of, we don't want to upset sponsors, we want to keep things family friendly, blah, blah, blah. But surely the true level of how we bring equality and strength to the world is by saying, look, ladies and gentlemen, Rhea Ripley can whip a man's ass, just like a man might potentially whip her ass. And that's okay, because what we're doing here is a form of performing arts. We are consenting adults. The word consent's really crucial. It should be very important to every relationship you have, but it should also be extremely important to recognize that in wrestling, 99% of the time, unless we're talking like, these outlaw macho fucks, and we don't need to fucking, they're not wrestling as far as we're concerned. Every wrestler consents to the ability to work with another wrestler. So it's not we're acting as if women are being forced into this scenario. Wrestle a man or I'll kill you. That's not what happens. And what you're essentially saying is that I don't care about your consent because it makes me feel uncomfortable. And my opinion is I don't give a fuck if it makes you uncomfortable because I've consented to do it. And if the woman has consented to wrestle me, which is the most important thing alongside my consent, I don't care if you're uncomfortable. Go and watch something else. Go and watch, I don't know, Barbie or some shit because I don't care. Like, go and cry about your hurt feelings elsewhere.
Yeah, I remember actually many moons ago, I did a tag team intergender match, and it was for I'm not going to say their name. I will not say their name. I will tell you after if you want to know. It was for a local TV station. There was a particular part in the match where I was kicked in the face by one of my opponents, and that opponent happened to be a man. And the TV producers did not like it, and they actually cut it from TV. So, where you say about sponsors and how it affects people, it happened. It happened to me.
I still think it's ignorant. I do. I think, I get it. It's business and I can't override business, unfortunately. As much as I'd love to bring down the patriarchy, I appreciate why it's there. And one man's voice, no matter how much I want it to, is not going to change that. But that still doesn't mean I have to like it. And bottom line is that I want true equality. True equality means that Persephone Vice, if she's happy being kicked in the face, she'll be allowed to be kicked in the face. Just like she's more than happy to kick my fucking head off. And I'm okay with that too. So You know, not that I'm angling for a match or anything, but book it right now.
No,
It's that
no.
sort of thing. I know a lot of promoters book me versus Aaron, let just whip my ass. I'm okay with it because you'll make money and you'll thank me afterwards. Plus gives you the opportunity to talk Britain a bit more, which is frankly what we all want. We want you to go into the EU. We want you to go to Belgium and wrestle Laurie. Obviously,
Oh,
I know
fuck.
Laurie as well, and that's how I got in contact with you rather nicely through
That's
the
right.
fucking awesome. So we've always got time for the German goddess. So
The
all
German
the
goddess versus the Greek goddess. Come on. It's money.
oh, you see you
Money.
know we're on the same wavelength
Money.
because I want to talk to you about Greek culture. Yeah, because I one thing I love about you is your Instagram, the whole kind there's a lot of Greek nods to culture going on, what Greek women are like, Greek food, reactions to just that culture. It's amazing. I've been to Greece quite a few times. I love Greece. There's a lot of incredible architecture, a lot of incredible culture. What does Greece mean to you? Is it a case of so have you been to Greece before, or
I
is
used
it
to live there. I used to live there.
so were you originally born in Greece before you went to Canada?
No, I was born in Canada, moved to Greece, and then came back.
Wow. Okay. So, what part of your
Mhm.
family is involved with the Greek side of culture?
Oh, we're everywhere.
Ever?
We are everywhere.
We are
uh,
everywhere.
we are everywhere. Um, I've got family in Athens. I have family in countrysides of Crete and Thessaloniki. Yeah.
I've been to all three of those places and they're all amazing. So that's yeah, that excites the fuck out of me. I just love Greece. It's just cool. I really like Greece, the Greek food as well. Um, how important is it for you for representation? Is there a sense of so I get into this argument a lot because as you know, I'm half Egyptian, so I've got that, you know, I'm very proud of that side. Spend a lot of time with Egyptian family. And again, Egyptians, Muslims, everywhere. I'm not personally Muslim, I'm an atheist, but you know, which drives my sisters mad, I can tell you that much. But it's that thing of representation is important. But I've always said representation is only important if you have the talent to back it up, because otherwise we just grab a random Greek or a random Arab off the street and go, you get out there, and then you can just fill the quota. I'm not about quotas, I'm about talent through representation. Do you feel that there's a lot of pride there? There's a lot of representation because you're representing the Greek community in North American professional wrestling?
Absolutely. And that's another place I would love to wrestle in is Greece. Oh my God. I don't know. I don't think anybody really understands like the need for me to work in Greece. I to be back at the in the motherland, so to speak, or my homeland or wherever. I mean, it's not really my, but it's my homeland. um, it would fill me with so much pride, and it's something that I just need to do before I I can't do this anymore. Um, even if it's just like once, and I'm good. You know, I'm good. I do represent my culture, my ethnicity, not just in my wrestling, but I wear it proudly on my skin. I speak about it in on my Instagram and on my Twitter. I am very much deeply rooted into my Greek culture and Greek pastimes. So I think it's very important, especially if you were someone with an ethnic background, such as, I mean, just even when you say Egyptian or Egyptology, cool. You think of, you know, hieroglyphics, and you think of the kings and the queens of whatever freaking dynasty that are out there. You think of the Sphinx and King Tut and the Great Pyramids and how things were built. Like I can't even imagine what it would be like to be in the presence of a fucking pyramid. And unfortunately, when I was living in Greece, I was too young to really appreciate where I was and the surroundings that I was in. So I really could not take it all in. But now, as an adult, if I were to go to Athens to be at Poseidon's temple or the Acropolis, I don't have the ability to articulate how that would make me feel. Insert adjective right here. Elation comes to mind. Um, I would be like an overwhelming sense of pride. Oh my God. So I hope somewhere in my future I will have the opportunity to go and pay respects to the country where I once lived and where my family is from.
Nationalism can be beautiful, America. Pay attention to it. Although, let's be honest, America's not got any history. It's too young. And wait, I look forward to your letters. Yeah, no, the culture obviously in Europe. So it's a very quick one, but it tags on to it. What people forget is it's so much harder to travel from North America to Europe than it is for, say, me. So, for instance, I live in England. I can fly to Greece for about $100 return. Like that's crazy when you think. I know, right? Like, yeah, that was. She's gonna get real angry in a minute, motherfucker. Like, yeah, it's really easy for me to just fly to Greece.
What the hell?
Like a couple of hours, get off the plane, probably spend a weekend there and fly back. Easy. It's obviously money wise, once you get there, Greece has obviously gone through quite a bad recession as well, economical breakdown and stuff like that. So obviously it depends what you're going to do, but for me, I love flea markets and things like that. I went to the Pantheon and stuff like that. I was very blessed that I went to Athens at a time when I could appreciate it as an adult. Also, the food is very nice. Yeah, so, and I love my food, as you can tell, but it's that thing of, so again, the travel. So you touring Europe, for instance, is a much bigger deal, in my opinion, than say if I can tour Europe, because I can financially, to a certain degree, take the hit much easier to tour Europe. Whereas for you, that's that's a lot of money. People don't realize that's a lot of money just to get over here in the first place. Then you factor in all the travel that I would do coming from here. So if you want to say wrestle in England for 3 or 4 days, cool. Then you got to travel there, then you got to travel there. And this is the thing: promoters are very reluctant unless they foot the bill together to pay for imports, unless they are big names. Josh Alexander, for instance, you'd think he would have been over here 7 or 8 times, man. I mean, and he just came over for Sovereign Pro, and and literally he was here for like 3 or 4 days, and he was gone again. Now, I would have personally thought he'd be here for a month, and everybody would have been all over him like a fly on seductive manure, but no, apparently not.
That's a shame. That's a true shame.
And that's Canada's, in my opinion, best wrestler. So the fact that Josh Alexander's only over here for 2 or 3 days, didn't get a chance to meet him, which he's gutting, but that's Sovereign Pro's problem for not booking me in the first place. So they obviously don't recognize talent. Just kidding. But it's that thing of shit. If it's that difficult for Josh Alexander, think what it's like for Persephone Vice, for Alexis Nicole, for Speedball Mike Bailey, who has been over here actually a lot more than Josh Alexander now I think about it, which is very strange. But it's that, again, it's that thing of people don't realize how hard it is to get out of Canada. So is it one of those things where, in a sense, it's actually a bit of a fucking albatross around your neck being Canadian and living in Canada as a professional wrestler?
Oh, absolutely. And especially depending on your location in Canada, will make it much more difficult to travel. If you are at a hub, let's say a major city. So I'm going to go just say the top 3 cities here, or in my opinion, top 3 cities. You've got Vancouver, you have Toronto, and you have Montreal. I feel that those are the biggest cities in Canada that you could fly pretty much direct from. Where I am, which I won't tell people, I would have to fly to one of those locations and then probably get on hopefully a direct flight. If not, it would be probably another stop in between. So it makes it very difficult for travel. And when you are adding stops, or if you are not at a big hub like Toronto, Montreal, or Vancouver, it's going to cost you more money. And your flights are extended, you have more opportunities for delay. You also have to think about where exactly you are flying into, like what airport. Now, I'm not familiar with the UK and how many airports they have, but I'm going to assume that they have multiple spots where you can fly into. And
Yeah.
you also have to make sure you are flying into the correct one for these shows. And I'm sure that once you are there in the country, you know, like I'm gonna put you in the hot seat because you're here. But if you and I were going to be touring together, or whatever shows we are touring with, you and I would be travel buddies. So things would be split, or whomever is going to be joining us, whatever, the more the merrier. I don't care. But then you have to figure out, are we going to be flying other places? Do I, as a Canadian, need to worry about any kind of like visa? I don't know what the deal. I mean, I'm Canadian, so I know there might be some leeway because of the UK and Canada being, this or politics, whatever. I don't know the
Commonwealth.
word.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. I was like, what is that
Yeah.
word? I'm like, he'll
That
pick
could
up
be
what
the
I'm
name of
putting
our
down.
tag team. There you go, the Commonwealth.
There you go. And I love that. That's cool. So, there's things that you would have to consider, and not everybody wants to pay for that. Now, if I'm guaranteed, for me, if I break even, I think I'm okay. Because at the end of the day, I'm doing this for me. I don't have a family to support, where other people might have to support their family with their wrestling career. Um, I would hope that if I could break even or close to even, I'm like, you know what? The whole experience was worth it. Losing your ass on a UK venture would be catastrophic. And it would just make it so that you would never want to come back and enjoy the
Yeah.
wrestling scene again. And I want to experience and have the best possible experience abroad as possible, because there is nothing better, and I'm saying it here, than UK and EU wrestling. I've watched it. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm like, feed me more. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. Oh, I wrote to feed me more. I'm
That's
sorry.
yeah, that's
Put
I'm
it in
sure
my veins.
he's
Bleep
not
it
gonna
out.
watch. He's not gonna watch. Don't worry about it. So my copyright infringement, probably not. I so also fuck that guy. Oh sorry. Anyway, that guy who will not be named for legal purposes. Yeah, so I mean, thank you very much. Obviously, I take it for granted. So actually, I don't take it for granted. That's an absolute lie. I always say to people, every booking I treat like my last, because I feel like every booking I get is a blessing. I'm very lucky. I get to work most weekends. I can sometimes clock up 12 shows in a month, and a lot of people don't realize how fucking cool that is. In February, for instance, I'm in the same locker room as Session Moth Martina and Leonardo Darwin and Nina Samuels and ex WWE talents. And then the following week, I'm in a room with, practically unknowns. And I love every single part of it, because you're
Mhm.
seeing every single angle of wrestling. The people that we idolize are so much closer to you in the UK than they are anywhere else, because of
Mhm.
that proximity and the fact we are this tiny island. Does it irk you? Canada's huge, right? Like, from an actual physical landmass, Canada is fucking massive, and yet you have very few, shall we say, notorious or well-respected independent promotions that have, good reach. I'm talking, like, for instance, Destiny is probably Canada's #1 independent promotion. I think that's fair to
Mhm.
say. May not necessarily have the most traction. It may not have the most dates. Like, I know that there's CWE and other places over there, but it's that thing of, like, for instance, if you say Britain, immediately you're like Rise, Rev Pro, Progress, ICW, IWE. Like, the names are endless. Then you say Canada, and it's like Destiny. And you're kind of like, but yet Canada has contributed so much to wrestling, probably more than any other country other than the United States and the United Kingdom. And it's kind of on a level playing field, really. And the quality of wrestlers you're producing, some might argue, is the best. I certainly would, but then I'm Bret Hart's biggest mark, so I'm going to say that. And also, the man crush on Josh Alexander will always be real. But it's that thing of, how the fuck is a country as big as Canada not growing as well as these other countries are when it comes to independent wrestling? Do you have some insight into that?
Oh my God. Like, I think that's a great question. I wish I could answer that eloquently. I don't know. we do have a lot of incredible homegrown talent. Um, and um, I don't know why we aren't seen more. I don't know why. I don't know, again, because Canada is stretched so wide and so far. Only a few promotions, and I can say a few, can get the reach out to particular markets. And I mean like good promotions, the ones that have the sponsors, the ones that have a decent fan base, the ones that are willing to travel. I've worked for a company, CWE. Shout out to Danny Duggan. He's a good friend of mine. I've been on one of his tours, and it was in the middle of winter, and it was a tough tour because it was in winter and we were hitting up some smaller spots. But we were hitting the smaller towns. Um, and so we were getting that reach to some smaller venues and smaller crowds. And I guess, especially now post pandemic, there's a financial situation. Whether and I'm not gonna say like, like if there's any financial strife between promotions or people or whatever. I don't want to get into that, but I think that's why you see only select few promotions doing what they do, staying where they are, because they don't have to go anywhere. They've got their fan base right where they are, and that's okay. I don't know if that fully answers your question, but I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, even here where I am located, we have a few promotions and they perform out of the same building all the time. Why do they need to go anywhere? Think about that. Why do they need to go anywhere? Why do they need to pick up and move that show to another venue, to another city, to do like anywhere else? Why would they need to do that if where they are is working for them right now? Especially if that promotion is not a touring promotion. I'm going to throw this out there. CWE, they are a touring company. That is what they do. They have their homegrown stuff, but yet they will put out stuff across Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and they'll do some stuff out in Ontario, but like higher up Ontario. So I don't know, like Southern Ontario, I guess. I'm really bad at geography, so don't quote me on that. Oh my God. Um, but unless you are a touring company that has, and like CWE has their own roster that will tour with them. And they don't really deviate from that. And that's okay. And I'm not shitting on that, nor would I ever. But like I think that's why you've got your reach is only in certain places because they don't go anywhere. They are here, that's their home space, and that's where it is. Now, again, I don't know if I've answered your question fully, but that is the best to my ability.
That's like a really polite way of saying, I don't know if I've answered it fully, but tough shit, that's all you're getting, which is absolutely fine. Like, trust me, we're okay being blunt here. One thing I want to ask very quickly, because of the state of injury and play like that, you almost feel like you're kind of waiting, like you've got to play the waiting game a little bit before you can burst out your shell again and really be hitting maximum, tread and max, fifth gear and going into full velocity with wrestling. Once
Mhm.
the injury, fingers crossed, which we assume eventually will get resolved, once that is resolved, I know you said UK EU tour, that's pretty hot on the agenda. Is there a pinnacle that you believe is a genuine, tangible result of wrestling that you can achieve before it's all said and done?
I believe it would be the UK EU tour. That would be it. 100%. I if I could make that happen, I could I hate to say the word retire. Oh God, that
Nobody ever
hurts.
retires.
True, but um if I could ever make that work, I feel like I would be at peace with my decision to have a very, very, very limited booking situation.
how important is wrestling now to you? Like compared to the rest of it. So obviously I'm not going to delve into I know you mentioned healthcare and stuff. We've spoken before and we don't like to delve into your personal life too much, frankly. And I think that's absolutely fine at the end of the day. But I know that your job is very important and what you do is very crucial to the system and to, just helping people in general. What you do is very admirable and very amazing. And I've always looked up to you in that regard. But how important is wrestling compared to the rest of your life? Is it something that you think I'm willing to sacrifice this, or is it a case of as much as you love wrestling? Because it's difficult, isn't it? If you ask this question, people are going to say you have to say wrestling is important, otherwise they're going to say that you don't care about it enough. But that's not how this life works. For instance, I work on a farm. Okay. So for me, it's like, yeah, it's great that I get to do videography and commentary and wrestle, all these crazy things. I think, holy shit, I am blessed. But I'm lucky that I have a job as well where they're like, sure, take the week off, do your thing, just make it up next week, whatever it is. They're very chill like that. But people don't realize that, if you turn around to them and say, like, for instance, if I said, yeah, being on the farms is important as wrestling, people are like, oh, you don't want it enough. There's all these kind of, I don't know, these sort of,
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah,
I know
these
exactly what
vibes,
you mean.
this attitude of you don't respect the business enough, which is not true. How much how important is wrestling on a scale compared to the rest of your life?
So my main source of income is my professional job, my professional career. So I have put that first for many years, for many, many years, because that is if, oops, sorry, if I don't have that job, it doesn't afford me the ability to travel for any kind of wrestling that would come my way. So my professional career will always come first. And especially now at this point of my life, wrestling is second. Um, but that doesn't mean it's like a shit second. It is a close second to my profession, to my real job. I still treat wrestling as a job because when I have a show, I am fully dedicated to that show. Um, so I do consider it like my second job, but it is my second job. I've had like wrestling has afforded me some pretty incredible opportunities. A couple years ago now, I was able to be a stunt performer on a fucking TV show, and not everybody can say that.
Sure.
Um, and I am very lucky in that aspect to have had that opportunity, and it was because of my real job that I was able to do it because I had to travel from my residence to like 2 hours away from here in order to rehearse the stunting scene. It was something that I had to do, and if it wasn't for my job, I would not have been able to afford to drive there or to do anything else in order for this opportunity to, oh my God, Gus, to happen. So my professional career is what I paid for. It's what I graduated from. Like I'm looking at my diplomas, right? They're right in front of my face. They are a constant reminder of everything that I've worked so hard for. I also have some stuff on my walls from wrestling that also is a constant reminder of how fucking hard I have worked at professional wrestling. So I cannot have one without the other. And that's it.
Harmonization. Yeah. They
Mhm.
have to be in harmony together. I like that.
I
That's
oh, you took the word right from me. You have to. They are definitely harmonious, and I will always consider them as such. And even on the day that I am no longer wrestling, I will always say that I have been a professional wrestler. I am a wrestler. I've had many, and that's just what it is. And that's just what it is.
all right. We're gonna obviously this whole thing is hyping you up because I think you're fucking amazing, as you know. So we'll talk about your bookings very soon. However,
Okay.
I thought I'd ask WrestlePlug, the wide expansive idiots who follow us now, to I say idiots because who's wasting their time listening to me? Not listening to you, obviously. It's just on me. But it's that thing of actually we got some questions, which I'm really pleased about. So,
You had people ask questions for me.
of
Oh,
course, because you are
I
important.
love. Oh wow, thank you. Okay,
So we're going
I'm
to
ready.
start with Toby, who some people might know as Ajax. He wrestles over here. A very promising young talent. I really like Toby. I've got a lot of time for Toby. His question: a lot of wrestlers see Canada as a hotbed of wrestling, same as they do for the UK. Japan has strong style. Mexico has lucha libre. What would you say is the defining aspect of Canadian wrestling, or the UK, if you have an opinion on it? So, what's the defining aspect of Canadian wrestling, do you think? What makes Canadian wrestling stand out compared to all these others? What's your X factor?
Oh God, I think we just have so much incredible talent here. Like we have like a slew of individuals. Like we've got okay, we're obviously going to talk about him because he's fucking amazing. Like Josh Alexander, look at that specimen. He is incredible. Okay, he is incredible. And although he doesn't wrestle anymore, Tyson Dukes, he was also an incredible fucking performer. Holy shit. Um, and you know we have so many, and like we've got oh there's just so many of us that have such incredible athleticism. They have great charisma, character development. Like we like when you like I mean when you say Josh Alexander, you know who I'm talking about. When you say Tyson Dukes, you know who I'm talking about. You know how many other, if you say she's another girl that I follow, Jody Frett. She's an incredible performer. She's solid in the ring. If you say Casey Spinelli, you know who she is. Another solid woman wrestler in Canada. Nicole Matthews. We have so many incredible people, and it's not even just like they're like I know they say strong style, lucha libre, but I think just Canada as a whole, like the product of Canada is just fucking good. It's just fucking good, and that's just this is what it is. And as you notice, I didn't say my name in there, so I'm not going to put myself over like that. I want to give like
That's what I'm here
where
for.
credit is due. So we are a multifaceted, multicultural group of people. You will see tons of different levels of athleticism, whether you're man or woman. Doesn't matter where you are. Like you will just see it all in Canada.
I love
I hope that answers your question. Toby.
I just love how it just poured out of you, the passion. Like, I feel like we should play the Canadian national anthem over that answer because it was just spectacular. Yeah, it was awesome. I might do that. I might have it very quietly in the back because it was just phenomenal. If anyone asks me, and I know nobody's asking me, but for me, I look at the identities of each place. For instance, Japan, I think of hard-hitting MMA influence wrestling. When I go to Mexico, I think of the color, the Dia de los Muertos, you know, Day of the Dead, that beautiful honored tradition of lucha libre. When I see Canada, the word that always comes to mind is purist. That's where true purist, high quality professional wrestling is. And you kind of nailed it there when you're like, Canada, it's just fucking great. That's what they should just put on the border. Like on the signs everywhere. Welcome to Canada. We're fucking
It's just
great.
fucking great.
Yeah, that's it. Just put that on there and be done with it. Like
I'm
Canada.
all for it. Do it. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that should be a thing.
Yeah. I could just say, welcome to, like, Josh Alexander is like the greeter. He just welcomes everyone at the border. Welcome to Canada. Welcome to Canada. Like, it's brilliant. Absolutely awesome. You know, it's just great. I love that shit. That's a great question. Right. Next question is from Frankie T, the journeyman of British professional wrestling, somebody that I have the pleasure of working with quite a bit, someone who is constantly trying to drag me in the wrestling ring. I have no idea why, because I am not exactly the greatest wrestler in the world, but I appreciate his enthusiasm. What is your ultimate career highlight so far?
My ultimate career highlight. Okay, well, I've got a couple. Number one, I had the opportunity to, and I'm going to keep it, my first one is going to be Indy. I had the opportunity to wrestle one of my best fucking friends, Hellraiser Payne. And uh, it was a match that people still come and talk to me about. Just thinking about it now gives me goosebumps. He is an incredible human being. Again, intergender. Okay. It was such a solid match. One of my favorites. I literally after the match ended, like I'm in the back and I'm like, I was overcome with so much emotion. I was crying and I never cry. I never do that. And everyone was like, "Oh, you're hurt." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. Like, I can't believe we just did that." And he came to the back. He screamed my shoot name, and we probably hugged. Like, we were in embrace for a good 10 minutes. Like, it felt like 10 minutes. I mean, you can put a number on it as long as you want, but it was just, we had done something so incredible, and I've never been more proud of that match in my entire career. And it's definitely like, it's there. Um, Coming down from that, I've had the opportunity to lock up with Shelly Martinez. It is with a promotion I no longer, I don't even know if it's still running, but that promotion has a very deep rooted place in my heart. The former promoter passed away the year I had surgery, and I traveled 10 hours to go to the funeral, to come back in the same day. Um, I will never forget him. I will never forget the promotion, and I will never forget the people of Timmins, Ontario. I love you guys. I hope if you ever, any of you ever watch this, I hope you guys are all doing well out there, and you guys are staying healthy and happy, and Vice misses you. So that was a really cool opportunity too. Um, I also had a chance to work with Terry Runnels and Victoria, Robbie E from Impact, as well as SoCal Val. And Jake the Snake was also on one of the shows that I was there too, as well as Angelina Love. And I'm sure I'm missing a few names, but there it was. Yeah, we're gonna sprinkle everybody there. Oh, Tommy Dreamer was at one of them. Mr. Anderson. Like, I've had so many opportunities to meet some incredible people, because there you go with that promotion. So those are another, like, a close second. Um, then after that, one of my favorite people to work here in Canada, Jessica Black. I'll be wrestling her May 6th. She's also an incredible performer. I love working with her, and I'm looking forward to working with her in May. She's incredible. She just had some stuff done with AEW. She was able to train at Cody Rhodes' gym, and she had like she won, how do I say the word? Like, she won basically an opportunity to go train at the facility for, I believe it's the night. Oh God, what's it
The
called? The
Nightmare
Nightmare?
Factory.
Nightmare Factory. Thank you. For a few months, her and her partner were able to go train out there, Jeremy Prophet. So he's also going to be at this show. So, and fun fact, back before I was an in-ring competitor, Jeremy and I used to work together. I was his valet. We did a role together at a promotion in this area. So that's also fun. It's kind of cool how things come full circle. So those are those moments. And then obviously when I had the opportunity to be a rosebud on WWE programming, that was also an experience. So that was pretty cool. So those are some pretty big deals in wrestling. Also, as I mentioned earlier, I had the opportunity to be a stunt performer on a TV show. So I have done some pretty cool shit in this career. Now, it may be to some people that may be like, no big deal. Like, I've done more. I'm like, you make your career however you want it. There is no limit to who says that you can do what in your career. If your career takes you to wherever, then you fucking ride that wave. This is what I've done. You can't dim or take away anything that I have done in my career, because this is what I have made of it. So, and I did it on my own terms and my own rules. So I am proud of everything and anything that I have done.
That makes the next question from Frankie very easy to answer. What is the one thing you would change in your career if you could?
Very little, but if I wish the mentorship earlier on in my career, I wish I could have had. I was too nervous to ask for help, not and help in a way of growth and development and how to talk to promoters and get my name out there, and learned how not be taken advantage of, especially when you're just coming out. Things are a little bit different now. At least I'd like to think they are. And I'm also a grown ass woman, whereas back when I started, I was, 20 something. Um, so I wish there was someone I could have chatted more with on a very personal level about bookings and opportunities and things I need to be aware of, where I wasn't uh, to be taken advantage of, and like to not be paid properly, things like that. So know your worth, because I didn't know my worth back then. That's what I want to say.
That's literally one of the very first things, because amazingly, I've only been in the business 5 or 6 years. And yet the guys ask me, I guess because of age, because I'm old, but guys come up to me and they're like, any advice? And I'm like, I'm not going to give you advice on athleticism and stuff because it looks like you're far ahead of me. One thing I always say to guys is don't shortchange yourself. Don't work for free unless you absolutely have to. Because ultimately this is supposed to be a business. You're supposed to be a professional wrestler. So act like a professional. It's that kind of thing. So, but that's obviously something that it's such a broad topic. It's easy for me to say, make sure you know your worth, but what is your worth? You need to know that. You have to ask a lot of yourself in wrestling, I think, to find out where you belong. You've probably seen on my social media, I got a massive chip on my shoulder because I know I work harder than anyone else in the fucking room. I'm always exhausted because I do not want to leave anything up to trust or anything up to, someone's interpretation. If I have all my work out there, I expect to be recognized as one of the hardest workers in our business. And if I'm not, that's a me problem. I'm not going to be like, fuck all of you. I'm one of these people who's like, right, I need to work even harder then. So you've always got to ask what's going on inside of you. Frankie's got another question because he's obviously very, very intrigued by you. Do you have any goals you haven't achieved yet? I know we've kind of touched on that with the EU tour and stuff. Is there anything else maybe?
You know what? I've talked to some other people about it, but if the opportunity ever came to go work in Japan, I think that would be kind of cool. Basically, I'm just gonna sum it up into one big fucking suitcase, whatever, to work abroad. And I'm not talking about North America. I want to go abroad, and that means any opportunity. And I've said the places I would love to go and work, and we're gonna manifest that.
We like
So
manifesting here. One of my
we
best
love
friends
manifesting.
one of my best friends, quite a big name over here, Nadia Sapphire. You've probably seen us going back and forth on social media a little bit and stuff like that. She'd be an amazing opponent for you because you look at Nadia, she looks like a glamour model, very beautiful like yourself, stunning, does a lot of amazing photo shoots, but she can hit like a fucking freight train. I'd love to see you two knock 7 bells of shit out of each other. I'm like, yeah,
Oh, I would love it.
that's where the money's at. So,
I
and
would fucking
Nadia
love
doing
it.
very well with Wrestling Society in the Southwest of the United Kingdom as well, which I'm very blessed to be a part of. I offer a lot of media services and stuff for them. And yeah, just a great locker room with great women's wrestlers who like to fucking hit hard. So you'll be very, very welcome there. I can assure you of that. Adam Wessex, who some people might recognize, of course, is the GM for ACW. He also dabbles in wrestling a little bit. He's normally getting his ass handed to him by Rusty Jack if you go to ACW in Bournemouth, ladies and gentlemen. He's got 3 questions as well. Canada has always been a haven for professional wrestling. That sounds eerily similar to the other one from our boy Toby. What, in your opinion, makes the Canadian community such enthusiastic fans? What makes Canadian fans stand out in wrestling?
Oh, wow. Because they're fucking awesome.
Canada, we're fucking awesome, man.
I mean, I'm really bad at answering some of these questions
Good
because
shit.
um, you've got your loyal fan base, and they are loyal to the people that they love. And I have my fan base, and other people have theirs, and when they come together, it's fucking wild, and I love it. What people don't realize is like I'm a heel, and I thrive. I thrive. Like I feel it viscerally when I walk through the curtain and not a single person is cheering for me. When those fans know me enough that they boo the shit out of me, dude, like it's the coolest feeling ever. And they are ruthless. They are fucking ruthless. And I fucking love it.
You wait till you get over here. The 18 plus shows over here are something else. Holy fuck.
Oh my gosh, I haven't wrestled an 18 plus show in a dog's age. I would kill for that. I think it would be
Oh,
so fun.
what I love about it is how we're unshackled as well as they are. So it's just like,
Mm.
and you know me, I like a swear.
I
Just
love
like,
chaos. I
yeah.
love chaos. I
No, I
I
do.
I want to go completely fucking feral at an 18 plus show. Like like unleash like Indeed. Like let ugh.
Can we just
I
do?
have no
Yeah,
words. Like I'm like my blood pressure's going up now because I'm like, oh my god, yes.
I can. Yeah, no. I need to
Right?
watch
Oh
my
my
chest as
god.
this. I just fucking get on with it and get Persephone Vice over here so I can actually fight
Yeah.
so hard for this. Two very good questions here now for you to put your fans hat on. So Adam Wessex, who is an unapologetic AEW mark, so I reckon he's looking for something here. But he's asked you, what is your favorite wrestling gimmick in the landscape today? So who's a wrestler do you look at and go, this guy, money, I can't, or this woman, I cannot stop watching them based on their gimmick.
I love the shit that Taylor Wilde is doing right now. I love it. The Coven, mm, she's fucking brilliant. Oh my God. And it's kind of I would never say like our gimmicks are similar because they're not, but um that witchy vibe that she has, basically what for me, if you know, because I'll give you a little background into this. Um, if you know the story of Persephone and Hades, Hades kidnapped Persephone. And long story short, he tricked her into eating the pomegranate seeds, which is why she's here on Earth and why she goes back to the underworld. That's kind of the thing. So when I wrestle as Persephone, there it's like Hades is me, I am Hades. That's kind of the vibe I give off, which is why I have a particular mask that I wear because that is Hades. That is the representation of Hades. So she's got her dark feminine energy. I have my own interpretation of dark feminine energy, and I fucking vibe with it so much. I love the tarot readings. I love her gimmick. I love her look. I'm like, you are the fucking shit. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Oh, beautiful. Like, I love it. I love it. Money right there.
How about the House of Black? Is that something that intrigues you?
Hmm.
Or is
We're
it
gonna
too
pause.
commercial?
I like.
Not dark enough.
It's yeah. It's not. I like
It's too Hollywood.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Don't
can't
really
wait
offend
for I cannot wait for Adam Westlake to have a cry over that. That'd be good stuff. Um,
Sorry.
so on the flip side, he has asked, what is your most hated wrestling gimmick? Now, I appreciate as workers, we don't like to throw people under the bus. Now, as people will know from listening to me, I think Orange Cassidy is trash, and I don't care. I'm just going to put that out there. Don't give a shit. I don't mind the gimmick itself, but when you have matches with Mimosa, but I just hate that shit. It's not realistic enough for me. I don't mind fun. I don't mind enjoyment. I don't mind comedy, but it has to have the right positioning for me. So I'm not asking you to shit on something unless you wish to, in which case, have at it. And yeah, I agree with you. Kenny Omega is a piece of shit. But no, I'm kidding. But it's that thing of maybe you'd like to. I'll ask it in a different way. Maybe a gimmick or a trope that maybe is used too much in wrestling that maybe doesn't sit as well with you, in case you don't want to shit on a specific performer, depending on how mainstream they might be.
I like things that go against the narrative, that go against the grain. So if just because I don't jive with something doesn't mean that it's not somebody else's cup of tea. So I don't know how to answer that because I know what I like and I know what I don't like. And the things that I don't like, I don't comment on. So uh yeah, I think that's just how I'm gonna leave it at that.
You
Like if
absolute
I don't,
politician.
there you go.
Well, if anyone's asking me, Orange Cassidy, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, people who wrestle blow up dolls, people who jump into stupid pools or vats of orange juice, you can all get in the bin. So, and I'm not apologizing for that. I don't give a fuck. It's not like I'm ever going to be a big enough deal to. I'm not going to be wrestling Kenny Omega, so it's all good. Like, and to be fair, whether I like it or not is irrelevant if he's making money and he's doing well. Shit happens.
And that's at the end of the day, like that's what it comes down to. If this is what is paying their bills, then fuck, let me hold the door open for you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter what I like because I'm not paying you. I'm not paying into anything. It's the people that are paying for it that fucking matter, right?
Yeah, yeah. Doesn't fucking matter. This is why I love it. I get hate mail, I get death threats, I get all sorts. And I say to people,
Wow.
why do you care what I think? It's just my opinion. Like, why do you give a
Yeah.
shit? You have a choice. And also, at the end of the day, you're still if you love Kenny Omega and you want to pay to see him, good for you because it makes you happy.
Yeah.
And I have no
Yeah,
issue with that. Why
exactly.
do you give a fuck if I don't like him or not? Stop
Yeah.
crying and go and enjoy what you enjoy.
Oh boy.
Toxic
It can
fucking
just be
melts.
it can just be like the same thing with the music industry or like any kind of entertainment. Like, you've been like a long time fan of a particular band, and then the band changes their sound, and then you're like, oh, this band is shit now. I like their old shit. Well, don't fucking listen to them if you don't like it. You don't
That's why
have
I
to
don't watch
buy their
AEW.
shit.
I don't like it, so I don't watch it.
And there you go. So it's just like leave it alone. Like just like what you like and hate what you hate and move the fuck on because nobody's going to care. I don't fucking care if you don't like me. That's not my fucking problem. Now, is it? It's
Though,
never
if you
been
don't
my
like Persephone
problem.
Vice, yeah, might have a mental deficiency.
I,
Um,
you said that. I didn't.
yeah, I see.
They
Yeah,
should
that
call you on that one.
talk about things that should be on my Tinder bio. I say it, you don't have to. Like that's literally me in a nutshell. Like because I don't give a
I love
fuck.
that.
I'm so
I
used to
love that.
upsetting people. I don't care. I'm just unapologetically me. I love the fact that even my best friends go, Nick, you're a total cunt. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, I love it. I love
yeah.
it.
I am the purveyor of anarchy, and I'm okay with that. Um, so one question I want to throw in there very quickly before we start hyping the brand, particularly because I know you got some upcoming dates. Your Mount Rushmore of Canadian wrestling.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
I want to know what is your Mount Rushmore of Canadian wrestling, so the four all-time greatest Canadian wrestlers in your opinion.
Oh, in my opinion. Okay. Well, obviously Bret Hart, 100% out there.
Winner.
100%. Um, I've always adored how he works. I've always been captivated by it. Uh, Next Canadian wrestler. Oh, they're so you think that they're here. Edge and Christian. Like I'm gonna go there. I thought they were incredible wrestlers. I've had the opportunity to meet them. I think they're also really stand up cool people. From the very limited exposure that I have like face to face with them, they seem like pretty cool dudes. And I think they paved the way, just like Bret Hart did, for a lot of people in my uh, era generation. Can I say that? And if we're gonna go down the track of female wrestlers, you obviously got to throw Trish Stratus in there. Now, this could be unpopular opinion. I don't care how she started in this business. I know she started as a valet role. Hey, so did I. Um,
That makes for me, that makes her even better though. Because it's that thing of she took like, she literally said, okay, I'm just some bombastic blonde to the TV audience. I'm going to work twice as fucking hard to be as legitimate a fighter as well as that. And she was on Raw last week, like, and still she's 47 and looks 27, which is disgraceful. I mean, but it's also that thing of I think the growth is what makes her, for me, an all-time great women's wrestler. Because it's not where
Mhm.
you start, it's where you finish.
And she has been someone, excuse me, I have looked up to since the beginning of her career, and I followed it very closely before I started wrestling, and obviously now as a professional wrestler, and it's incredible. And I've had the opportunity to meet her and speak with her candidly about my career and things. And I've showed her some clips of my matches and some of my modeling stuff. And, you know, that like the fact that she was super receptive to it is pretty fucking awesome. And I'm sure I'm missing a few incredible Canadians, especially ones that are names and ones that have been out there. But I think, you know, I think that's the list on that one. Am I missing anybody that I should mention that you can cut in there?
I mean, it's Mount Rushmore, so it's 4. So you got 4. So
I got
perfect.
my four. You're right. I got my
Yeah.
four. I
I'm
did. So
super
I did
excited
good.
for Christian. I feel like he's the most underrated worker of all time. Like, I think he's incredible. Like, what Christian has been able to and still achieves now is incredible. But for me, Edge is like top 5 all time. I believe that. And
Mm,
people are like, really? And I'm like, seriously, look at the character development. Look at the
he's
ability
a
to, like,
machine,
I don't. It's weird to think that I almost have forgotten that Edge and Christian was the most successful tag team in the world for like 5 to 10 years because
right?
I've seen what Edge has done as the rated R superstar. I rarely buy mainstream wrestling t-shirts. I have all of Edge's, all of them, because they're
Oh,
incredible
that's cool.
designs. Like I just
He,
love
oh,
Edge.
he's a fucking phenomenal performer, just
Yeah.
like top notch. Oh, there are some Canadian wrestlers. I wish we had the opportunity to see reach their peak. If you remember Andrew Test Martin,
Yeah.
oh, son of a bitch.
He should have
I
been the big thing.
oh oh my god. I met him once and the coolest human ever. And I am so like when I heard that he passed away, man, that was one that knocked me down a peg. I was devastated. I mean, I'm devastated when anybody passes away, especially when it's somebody that you look up to. But that one got me. That one fucking got me, bro. That one,
There's obviously, as you know from my size as well, I love Hoss wrestling. I'm obsessed with meaty, as Big E puts it so eloquently, big meaty men slapping me. It's yeah, baby. I love Hoss wrestling, and that's how I wrestle, like a big old fucking freight train. And
as you
for
should.
me, the pin when people say to me, "Show me a good example of this," I always say the same match: Test versus Brock Lesnar from King of the Ring 2002, where it's just two whopping units like, oh, I'm gonna kick the shit out of you, and then Test, oh, I'm gonna kick the shit out of you, and it's oh yeah, like that's energy,
Oh,
like
magic.
and
I know
Color Boy,
exactly what magic talk. Oh,
Massacre City, I
so
love
good.
it. That's how
So
real
good.
fucking wrestlers hit for me. Good shit. By the
Man.
way, best big boot of all time and an elbow drop to die for. A magical talent test.
When I
Yeah. Oh,
sorry to cut you off. When I first started wrestling and coming up with a finisher, I used a big boot. Thank you, Test. Thank you, friend.
yeah, he proved to me that you could be massive and hit a good elbow drop. And to this day, I believe the reason I can hit a good elbow drop is because of that guy. Like, and it's so cool. He used to just float. He was so graceful.
Oh
Yeah,
fuck. And he was like
woefully underrated.
6'6" or 6'7". He
Yeah,
like he could just float.
a
Unreal.
monster. You look at
Oh,
Lance Archer now and you think, I'm worried that Lance Archer will become the new Test where he won't get to the very pinnacle where he deserves. Because he's another guy with the same kind of acumen, the same kind of skill set. And you can see it in Lance Archer, the way he wrestles. There's probably, I don't want to speak for him. He may not even fucking give a shit. But again, it's another guy where you think, I can see shades of what Test brought to the party. Test was a real pioneer for horse wrestling. Doesn't get the love for it because Canada is so synonymous, isn't it, with technical excellence, and people forget that you can fucking hit people in the mouth really fucking hard if you're Canadian. And as we get back to the original point, Canada, it's fucking great. So
that's right. That's right.
so let's talk about upcoming bookings because
Yeah.
your concert, as you know, I make sexy posters and I like to think I'm good at it. And I've noticed some very sexy posters I didn't make that you're on, which infuriates me because I wish I'd had these ideas. So I don't know. You'll have to forgive me, but I believe next up for you is April 1st, and it is a show called Conspiration.
So it's in French. So it's basically in English, it's conspiracy.
Conspiracy. I did see the French, and I thought I'm going to get hammered for pronunciation
You?
here. So
Hey, not
GP,
bad.
GPW, and
GP,
LPG.
So GPW, that's the English version of Gatineau Pro Wrestling.
Ah, okay.
So the other version is Lucha Pro Wrestling, like Lucha Gatineau Pro Wrestling. Yeah.
So putting out there. So in French, god damn it.
Just say conspiracy.
Yeah, it says
Conspiration.
conspiracy. I believe it's April 1st.
Yes, April
And
1st.
it takes place at 480 Depan Gatineau.
Depends.
I was getting there. I'm really trying, please. So yeah, bullet VIP passes are 25 Canadian dollars, I assume,
That is
and
correct. Yes.
which I believe is pronounced the loony, if I'm correct. So,
Uh,
and
$1 is a loony. Yes.
okay, yeah. What the fuck? I need to have words with Trudeau about that. And then obviously regular general entry is going to be $20. But you're on the
Yeah.
poster. Obviously, as you can say, I love conspiracy stuff. Now, before people jump on me, I don't subscribe to a lot of them, but I find them fascinating. I think they're really good work. I think they're great works for fiction. I would love to see people take conspiracy theories and adapt them into fictional, comedian. Like I love Inside Job, for instance, on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it. Really funny animated series about conspiracy theories. Really, really worth watching. But I love the design. There's a very Matrix vibe going on
It's
here.
cool, right? I love
Do
it too.
you know your opponent?
Yes, I will be wrestling Silesia Sparks. And the first ever time I've never had the opportunity to work her before. So
That's very cool because I do believe if you go back through the pantheon that is our Wrestle Plug watch alongs, we actually do have her as we've watched a match from hers that's online. So that's very cool.
cool.
We need to watch more matches of yours, but we get kind of in trouble for being too honest on those. So I'll probably just get in trouble for firsting. I don't know. I believe the kids call it simping at this point. I don't like simping, but I have a hard time with your Instagram. It's yeah. Problems, big problems. It's just, do you know what?
Bless
Like,
you. My God.
it's a me problem. It's not a you problem. So yeah, you've got conspiracy on April 1st. The other date that I've noticed that is floating around, and another very sexy poster is, of course, the Great North Wrestling's 50th anniversary show, which is on May 6th. You mentioned this in Ottawa, Ontario, at the old Armstrong Arena. And of course, I couldn't help but notice the rather famous cowboy James Storm is on the poster, amongst other bits. So are you, by the way, looking bombastic. This looks like an absolute screamer of a show as
It looks
well.
good, right? I'm pretty excited to have the opportunity to work on this event. And as it shows there, I'll be wrestling Jessica Black, and we're going to tear it down 100%.
Yep, tickets are available, by the way. It's ticketweb.ca, I believe, which I assume is
I believe so. Yeah.
yeah, which I believe is like the Canadian, like .co.uk. You guys know. But if you're in the Canadian region, I do know we do have some Canadian fans. Please, please, please go and watch Persephone Vice if you haven't seen her, because not only is she ridiculously hot, but she also has, honestly, genuinely, 100% one of the more talented people I've ever met in this business, which is very cool. So check these dates out. Are there any other dates coming up that we need to know about?
Uh, I will be working. It'll be back on the Quebec side. I don't have any more posters or information yet, but it'll be June 13th. They call it the Slush Puppy Arena.
Awesome.
Well, it's supposed to be a pretty huge event, so that's the next one, and keep your eyes out on that one. More information to come. TBD.
Yeah, and also it's worth checking out your social media. Now, no, obviously your Twitter is quite important because you do spend a fair amount of time. You're quite active on Twitter, which is very admirable of you because Twitter is full of awful people. At MSP Vice, of course, if you want to follow Persephone
Yeah.
Vice on Twitter, but Instagram as well. If you're a red-blooded male or female, you definitely need to check out our Instagram, which is of course
Persephone Vice official.
trying to be as
And
respectful as possible, but fuck me. It's god damn it. You're killing me here,
and
man.
I
I like
and
to think we're really good friends. I'm having a hard time here. Like, I'm just like,
I've got some new content coming out. I haven't really this is a I went down a different path. So it's not your typical stuff that you will be used to seeing from me. It's a little more conceptual art. I was heavily influenced by some music I've been listening to lately, just going through it. And I hope that once I post more from these photo shoots, that they will be thought-provoking, that you'll feel things from them, and take you down a path, like just enjoy the story that we're telling through photos. So I just hope you enjoy it whenever I post it. It'll come soon. There's already some tidbits on there. So check it out.
Yeah, follow her on Instagram. Most importantly, because she's just a really cool human being. My salacious mentality is going to, unfortunately means that people aren't going to take me seriously now. But legitimately, what you do photography wise is very artistic. It's very beautiful and it's very striking.
Yeah.
The photographers you work with are super, super set. Now, obviously, as you know, I do videography and photography. I'm really excited about collabing with people. I think we've briefly mentioned it. I'm desperate to collab with you because you have a striking look like no other. And I love telling stories, especially videography wise, because I'm now starting to branch into cinematics, movies, things of that nature. As anyone who knows me knows, I'm not interested in wrestling just being wrestling. I want it to be like a movie. I want it to be cinematic. I put these crazy videos together for that reason. I'm now starting to work with great clientele, doing personalized promos, more movie-esque kind of inspired stuff. And yeah, basically what I'm saying is everybody should pester Persephone Vice to work with me because I'm just desperate for it. Come on, like who doesn't want to work with the best?
Manifest that. I'm coming. I'm gonna come. I promise. I'm gonna get there.
Plus, added bonus. I mean, either way, I will. So, Carl Wilkinson, I don't know if you're stupid enough to watch as much of our content as I'm forced to, but Carl Wilkinson, obviously a native of Peterborough, Ontario, is one of my most regular co-hosts. I love Carl dearly, and we have absolutely determined that I will be in Canada very, very soon. So that will be awesome. So I will come and annoy you, hopefully, and
that's fine.
Yeah. So obviously, if you're willing, and I know work is super busy for you, so we'll work something out, which is cool. But yeah, is there anything you would like to discuss? Anything you'd like to ask me, or is there anything you'd like to say to your legions of adoring fans?
Let me ask you this. How are you doing? How are things with you? Like, I know that can be taken like in a very personal manner, but I mean, outside the personal shit that we can talk about another time, but like professionally, how are you doing? Are you happy with the way things are going for you? Because I've watched your work. I've been keeping an eye out on it. I've listened to the commentary and little matches that you've posted. I've looked at your posters, and if there's one thing that I can agree on, there is nothing shittier than a bad fucking wrestling poster. And you and I have chatted about this. Like when I see some shit with a fucking cell phone picture on, I'm like, no. Invest in yourself. And I believe, and you are an advocate for that. You are an advocate for that. And so professionally, how are you doing? How are you feeling with the way things are going for you, my friend?
It's very sweet that you would ask. Like, I think I realized that. Like, it's funny. Somebody said to me the other day, nobody cares about what you're doing because you're so obsessed with making everyone else look good. And that's even when I wrestle, I'm the first guy who's like, "What do you do? What can we do to get you over?" Because for me, it's all a dream. 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, I was homeless. So for me, it's like, whoa, like this podcast was sort of taking place while I was homeless, and people don't realize that because I don't talk about that. But from a professional standpoint, the last year has been the most successful year of my life by some margin in terms of personal, because I gave up my full-time job. I chased this instead, and I supplement that by working with horses, which is obviously I love animals, as everybody knows. I love horses. They're my lifeblood. So cows, sheep, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I
love cows. Cows are my favorite.
Well, we have shit tons of them over here, so get your ass over here.
Okay.
So yeah, no, you'd love some of the cow. We got Betsy, we got Daisy, all the cliched names, but they're all adorable. Bless them, they're beautiful. It's another reason why I very rarely, if ever, eat beef now, because once you've seen these faces, you're like, I can't eat beef anymore.
I don't eat beef anymore. Don't touch it. It's gross.
I don't eat lamb at all, and people are like, why don't you eat it? Because I work with lambs, and I can't do that. I cannot do that. No. It's really funny because I'm eating the shit out of chickens, and people are like, you obviously hate chickens, and I'm like, yeah, probably do actually. That's a little bit alarming because I actually love chickens too. So eventually, I think anyway, I'm getting off topic. So because nobody cares about my dietary needs. For me, yeah, no,
I do.
You're sweet. Too sweet. Yeah, for me, I think I'm doing well. But as you know, I have a massive chip on my shoulder. I never feel like what I do is enough. And it never will be. I know that. I do stop and say to myself, done well there. I look at a poster. I'm amazed by how ungrateful certain people in this business can be. And that can be quite jarring and can make you jaded. You know, you make wrestling posters, and I get wrestlers messaging me, you haven't used the right picture. You didn't give me the right picture. By the way, guys, if you're a wrestler, right, don't fucking contact a graphic designer and cry about how your poster doesn't or your picture doesn't look good enough if you haven't actually invested in good photography. That's a you problem, not me. You know what? Fucking invest in
True.
yourself. Do you know what, right? I'm lucky if I wrestle 3 times a year. Do you know I have a 200-pound pair of fucking wrestling boots because I take this business seriously? Because boots are
Hmm.
important, because ring gear is important. I have proper knee pads. I have a singlet. I have all kinds of gear. I have a logo. I have photos, promo photos that have been done by arguably the 4 best photographers in this country, even as commentators. Take the opportunity, and it frustrates me. Guys don't want to put the effort in, and then they complain when they don't get the reward from it.
Yeah.
Take a page from Persephone Vice and invest in yourself, especially if you look as good as she does. There is no excuse not to have bomb photography of you. Like,
It's important. Like those are the like people are paying you like to see you and for your merch. I mean, like you want to have good quality shit. Like have your good quality photos, print it on good quality shit so people can put that in a frame on their wall. Okay? Like do it right the first time.
yeah,
Like just
don't make excuses. Get it done.
and,
Like,
and
I don't make
I,
excuses.
I'm going to go back to where we were talking about, like when we were talking about, what job comes first. And I'm like, if you are the person that is going to put wrestling first and you're taking cheap fucking pictures, then you are really not. You are a hypocrite. You are not putting yourself first because you have shit pictures, shit merch, and you have shit representation for yourself. So go fuck yourself. There, I said it. Hmm.
Oh, I'm so fucking aroused. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, it's genuinely that I echo that sentiment. Um, why would I invest in you if you don't care about yourself?
There you
That's
go.
So if I see your shitty poster, no, I'm not going to pay to go watch a wrestling show, because if you can't be bothered to pay me 30 quid, or by the way, you don't have to pay me. There's a plethora of incredible graphic designers and we all charge really affordable rates. And frankly, we could
Mhm.
be charging a lot more. Don't forget that either. Don't take the piss out of clientele. Don't fucking haggle with somebody for the price of match cards. Go and look at my work. It speaks for itself. The fact that I'm now the videographer for one of the top 5 companies in Europe in Rise, which is, I know people will say that's an opinion. Yeah, it's an opinion that is backed up by the numbers. So
Yeah, you're fucking fantastic. I've seen your shit. I've
I
seen your work.
broke
It's
I broke
incredible.
through by working harder than anyone else. And when I see guys
Hmm.
whinging about how they're not getting bookings and yet they don't even have one professional photo, like there's one guy, I love him dearly. But I see him whinging on his Facebook and I think, mate, you haven't had a professional photo taken in 10 years. Shut up.
I
Like,
don't like that.
yeah, don't try and take shortcuts and expect everybody to give you a handout. I literally used to sleep under a fucking bypass.
Mm.
So you know what? Fuck you. Like, that's why I have a chip on my shoulder. And when people say to me, "Why are you so fucking ferocious and passionate?" Because I know what it's like to have zero, to have
Hmm.
nothing, and I don't have huge family and friends out the wazoo and stuff like that. And I'm okay with that. How am I doing professionally? To answer your question, pretty well, but I'll never be able to say that I am fine, because ultimately, if I was doing perfect, then I wouldn't have to carry on, and that's not part of the journey for me. I'm always striving for something more. So until I'm considered the world's greatest videographer slash wrestler slash referee slash commentator slash. By the way, find me anybody who does as much as I do in this business. That's why I get so ferociously passionate about it, because everything I do, I want to be the best at. I don't want to be a guy. I hate that. I don't want to be somebody. I want to be someone. I want people to recognize that. I want people to look at my work and go, Aaron Nix did that. You can just tell. Look
Hmm.
at it. It's got Aaron Nix written
Hmm.
all over it. Same with my posters and things like that. And you'll see that with the graphic for Persephone. Like, I'm not going to put a shit graphic out there. Like, you do not take someone that fucking hot and give them something shit. You just don't. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, I go on all the time about how beautiful you are as a person. Obviously, I love you dearly. But
Love you too, man.
the thing that's most important to me about you is how fucking professional and how cool a person you are. Yeah, sure, you are bombastically hot and you got amazing ink and incredible photography and stuff like that, but it's the personality and it's the vibe and it's the power and the empowerment that you bring to the table, which is why I'm always harassing you, as you know, better than anyone else. I'm always in your inbox. Podcast. It never happens. And I think this woman is ducking me at this point, man. But it's not. It's a case of you are just too fucking good and work too hard to spend enough time. And the fact that you've taken the time tonight, it's almost 2 a.m. my time, and I appreciate it. You've got loads of things going on. So you know what? I don't offer out my heart too much on here. I love you and I'm super grateful for you. And I'm super grateful that you're a part of my life. So thank you for coming on this fucking podcast. Because, yeah, I get loads of guests and I love all of them, but I don't love them quite as much as I do Persephone Vice. So
the feeling is mutual, my friend. I'm glad through the pandemic our paths have crossed, and it was definitely divine timing. So I'm hoping, truly hope that in the future that I can actually get to the UK. We can work together. And you know, you get your match, my friend. You get your match.
Kick the shit out of me, honey boo. I'm ready. And also, let's manifest, shall we? Persephone Vice versus Regina Rosendahl for a main event. Regina. It's I apologize, by the way, because she might watch this and be like, get my fucking name right. I did call her Regina Rosenthal because I'd heard her.
Oh, am I getting her name wrong? Oh shit.
When I watched the promo, she said Regina Rosenthal, but then I have heard people say Regina and she doesn't correct it. So do you know what? If you do watch this,
her Twitter says Regina.
I will tag her in it because I think that she deserves to know about you as much as you probably know about her and vice. And maybe you guys already loved up, which is very important to me because women should fucking empower women just as men should empower women and women should empower men and all this great shit. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. Dreams should happen for people, and I don't think anybody else deserves their dreams to happen more than you. Simple as that. So yeah. Check out your social media, I guess. Everyone follow Persephone Vice on social media. Do you have merch, by the way, that you can buy?
I literally have a singular t-shirt left, and I have 8x10s. The size is a large. It's my last one. I'm not making any more, friends. I'm not making any more.
Damn my meaty carcass. There you go. You're not making any more until obviously somebody wings you over a sexy design. Anyway, you never know. You never know. But if you want a large t-shirt of arguably the hottest property in Canadian wrestling, then you know where to go. I assume they would DM you if they want said t-shirt.
That's right. You can DM me. Absolutely.
Let's shift that one t-shirt. That's crazy. One t-shirt. Any plans for merch or anything like that? Do you sell anything like stickers or badges or anything like that at shows? Or 8x10s?
I sell 8x10s for sure. I've always wanted to do some kind of stickers. I think stickers are fantastic. I love them. I just haven't really like nailed down like a really cool like sticker pack, or I know I have like my logo I could do, but there needs to be more than just a logo. So maybe you and I need to chat a bit more about this, my friend. Maybe we do.
You know, you get looked after here, like, so
I know.
Yeah, but do you know what? That my overriding memory of you that always sticks out to me is the first podcast we did, which was amazing. I felt like I clicked with someone really immediately there, which was awesome. But I always remember putting on my Instagram story many, many moons ago. It was this beautiful artistic shot of what I believe was a couple. And it was the idea was photography through the eyes of another photographer. And it was a photograph of it was a beautiful woman who was essentially sat on her partner's lap and she was taking a photo of him. And I remember you sort of like replying to that story. Mate, you probably don't even remember this, but I remember you were because I.
Oh no, I know what photo you're talking about.
I put on my story. I would love to do this shot with somebody because for me, the most difficult thing about what I do, when you ask about me being a professional, how's my professional life? It's very difficult when you're always being the guy that produces that stuff for everyone else. So you don't get it. So when somebody takes a photo of me, it's a massive deal because it doesn't happen because I'm the one doing all of that. And I feel like I've got enough of a presence and enough of a look that I could strike you know, really strike a story and strike emotion in how I present myself, which is why people have seen me in videos a lot more, like the Matrix one I dropped recently, that kind of, you know, what's your reality? And people were like, wow, you're really good in front of the camera. I was like, nobody gets a chance to see that because I'm always making everyone else look like a fucking megastar. But yeah, like I was saying, I put that on the Instagram story and said I'd love to do so. I remember you replying, and then since then it's always stayed in my brain. I'd love to do a photo shoot with you. And a lot of people say, well, yeah, because you just want a ridiculously hot woman sitting on you. Sort of, but actually it's more about the storytelling. It's more about being able to work with someone that you vibe with and being able to tell stories. I can record anyone and make them look good, but to tell a story with somebody, to do a videography piece with someone like yourself where we follow you around for a day, I'd love to shoot a documentary with you while you're over here, you know, that
Oh,
your
that'd
time,
be
so
epic.
so you have something special. And it's not about money, it's about truly telling stories. I believe that art is the most crucial thing we have left in our world. And when I see that any kind of monarchy, patriarchy, those kind of things are trying to suppress that, that fucking infuriates me. Like they are trying to systematically destroy the arts because it gives people freedom of representation and an ability to think for themselves. And let's be honest, there's a lot of people who don't want that. And for me, when I look at you, you're the personification of what artistic expression is supposed to be. So
Oh, fuck. That's like the most genuine thing anyone's ever said to me. You got the biggest heart in the room. Thank you, friend. I
I try my
appreciate
best. That's very sweet because that's not an opinion shared by a lot of people. I'm apparently stone cold and callous. But people buy into the gimmick a bit too much, I think. So as
that.
you will
Yeah.
know, because you're very good at what you do. But yeah, Persephone Vice, thank you very much for returning to the Wrestle plug. I look forward to speaking to you again for your third part in 2.5 years' time. Don't do this to me, man. You've got. Let's set a target of a year, yeah.
Yeah.
Within a year, I know that I've definitely pissed you off, or or I've liked way too many stories. Apparently,
Not even. Not even.
it's one or the
You
other.
just be
But
good.
thank you so much for coming on. I fucking love you, and I look forward to having you back on soon.
Love you too, man. Love you too. Mm.
Carl will love that because he always does the Canadian salute. By the way, I'll leave you with this, ladies and gentlemen. Canada, it's fucking amazing.